Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to put the the field to the test in a field test. In all seriousness, we are going to try out the new equipment to test our soil and see how we're doing as far as like sandy, loamy, loamy, sandy, loamy, loamy, super loamy, or dry desert um, land. And we'll get our results back. We're going to find out how the equipment works. Try to figure out how to read the equipment. This is not going on the right way. Um, I'm just finishing up this last load. I've made just a hair over $10,000 on bales. So once again, that takes our grand total of sales from 25,000 to 35,000. That's not too bad for a crop off these two fields. We're going to do wheat again, so we'll make another total of 60,000 bucks in the next couple days between two wheat harvests. But I want to see again what the yield changes are once we start doing precision farming. If we actually do get an increase in the yield, or if it stays the same. Because once again, we were doing base game before, and now all of a sudden we're doing that. Now I bet you, if you start with that DLC and you don't do anything, then you will see a big yield increase or decrease if you don't do anything. But anyway, there's that. I wanted to tell you something else, and I can't remember what it was. I had it right on the edge of my brain, and it had something to do with recording, but I don't remember what it was. Oh, by the way, during the wintertime, obviously I don't have as much income from my real business, so this is pretty much what we survive on. If you really enjoyed the content and haven't had a nice holiday break and feel like I am worth your while, we would love a donation. I don't do Patreon yet. I don't feel like the channel's big enough for Patreon, but maybe I should. I don't know. But we have a direct link to PayPal. If you go into the description of this video, you'll see a link to my PayPal, and you can just chuck me a buck or two. That helps me continue the channel going, and it definitely helps out paying bills. I mean, just my internet alone is $150 a month. I mean, it's expensive to keep this stuff going. Most people can get away with $70 or $80 a month internet, but because I upload so much stuff, and in America, even though a company tells you there's no bandwidth limit, there are always limits, and it's usually about a terabyte of data. I upload literally terabytes of data a month, so I have to pay the extra $60 fee to get those extra videos uploaded, and also to stream when we start streaming again. So anyway, if you want to support the channel, that's one way you can do it. Watching ads is another way. I know we've talked about this in the last couple episodes. People hate watching the ads, but it does definitely bring in income. The more ads you watch, the more money I make. So that helps, and it's literally cents on the video. So if you watch six or 10 ads, you've given me $1. I mean, that's pretty significant, actually. So it does help, because I get about, I think it's about, I want to say it's 2.5 to 5 cents an ad. So if you watch my channel for a week, you've given me a couple bucks already. So that's a big help. So anyway, but I just want to put that out there. It is winter season, and that's when things get hard for me financially, because there's no other income coming in aside from YouTube and Twitch. So and Twitch is off right now, though I'll be starting up again. That's the other thing I wanted to discuss. And I've talked about it in some of my SnowRunner videos too. I'm trying to hit all the videos that I do. Games like Fishing Barren Sea, My Summer Car, American Truck Simulator, Euro Truck Simulator 2, Microsoft Flight Simulator. Those are all going to be going to Twitch. We will be, doing replays here on YouTube. I'll just put up 2-3 hour replays. I'm not going to cut them up into episodes like I used to, because I feel like I want my YouTube content to remain YouTube only. But we will do Twitch reruns if you want to watch those. There's a lot of people that don't like watching Twitch reruns. So that's why I want to keep the channels separate. I really want YouTube to be YouTube and Twitch to be Twitch. But I will be starting back up on the, I want to say somewhere around the 15th or 16th of December. That service will start up again. It'll be 2 hours a night. We're going to go Monday through Friday, maybe even Monday through Thursday, because my kids come over on Friday night, and I'd like to have the night off with them. So maybe we'll do because they go back on Sunday, so maybe we'll do like a Sunday to Thursday or something like that, and we'll roughly 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock. And I'll put the links back in the description again for Twitch also. Wow, I went to the gas station the wrong way. Sorry, folks. Oh, jeez. Now, if there's a fire, they're not going to be able to put it out. Just ran over the gas station's fire hydrant. Oops. All right, so I'm going to head back up to the farm, and I'll see you guys in just a minute. We're going to grab, well, I'm going to put away the bale, all that stuff. And I'm going to we're going to head over to the shop with the electric tractor and see if the electric tractor can mount the testing device. If not, we'll rent. First, we're going to rent the Mahindra to see if it'll fit the Mahindra. If it doesn't fit if it has to be the John Deere, then we'll rent the John Deere. Once again, I don't have a problem with it being John Deere. I just want to see if it works with other equipment, because it would be really nice if we could kind of, not have to buy or rent the John Deere every time we want to test. And I'm also curious to see, do we have to test the field every time? Like, do you have to do it between every single harvest? Now, I'm imagining the answer is probably going to be yes, which means now, does that mean we have to lime every time? So we're going to find those things out as we go through this, and I'm excited to try this DLC out. It's pretty neat stuff. So, all right, guys, so I'll be back in just a second. All right, folks, I've just run over go around the outside of the roundabout sign and arrived here at Kraft Landmaschinen AG with my Sepp Nussel Rigitrack. So we're going to rent. I'm not going to buy. We're going to rent this device, the Scout. Lease. Yes. And let's see if it can go on the back of the Rigitrack, because that would be most excellent if it could. But it may not work with this quote-unquote vehicle type. It does. Now look at that. So you don't have to have the stupid John Deere. Not that I have a problem with that, but this could go on. That's cool. If you put the 3-point hitch on the back of our Lintrack truck, you could use the Lintrack truck as the Scout truck too. So you wouldn't even have to use the tractor. But I think, obviously, this being an electric tractor, it'll be good to power as well. But it must run off a PTO or something. I don't know. Who knows? So that's good to know. You do not need to have the John Deere to use this. Which is funny, because I saw a certain other YouTuber who will remain unmentioned using the John Deere to use this. Maybe that person did not figure out that you don't have to, but I'm glad we did, because now you know, as a viewer, that yeah, sorry, and I'm going to use this right here. This is going to be our picture for the video. So for those of you that are watching, you can actually see it's on a different unit, because I want people to know that. I think that's very important to what we're doing here, that you know that you don't have to use the John Deere to do it. So I think the big excitement with the John Deere is that people now get it for free. You used to have to buy it. I got it for free because I got it. How'd you get it free? Oh, okay. So yeah, it was a gift. I thought that was the. Are you sure? It wasn't supposed to be. No, the pre-order gift was the black limited edition Mahindra. Oh, you got the collector's edition. Okay. So if you pre-ordered the collector's edition, you got it for free. I got it for free because thankfully I'm a Giants partner, so I get all the DLCs early and for free. And I use it. I've actually got my Lone Oak farm that I don't share with anybody, but I might eventually bring that farm to the channel. I've got a fairly large bovine farm, 250 plus cows. Actually, I just sold a bunch, and 250 plus sheep on Lone Oak. And I have a John Deere Gator that I use frequently, actually. I use it to get around the farm and to get to and from the tractor pen. So, all right, so here we go. We're going to put the Scout into motion. I'm going to open up the help menu because I don't know how to do this. So unfold sampling unit, X. Okay. Lower sampling unit. Take soil sample. Oh, and it shows. Look at that. That's cool. Oh, cool. So we'll just keep doing this. We'll pull up. So it really shows the range. That's kind of neat. So right about here, we need to take a soil sample. And take another soil sample. Wow, that's neat. Pardon me. Wow. And then we'll continue on. About there. Now I wonder if there's some max samples. There's 4 taken already. It's got to be a pretty high number if there are. I'm going to turn this off now. And that'll get the corner. I'm very glad that they display this on our map. That really is, it's actually quite helpful to be able to see where we've been without having to go into the menu, like how you used to have to check where you're fertilized and stuff like that. I hope someday that they actually bring the whole field status map. Wouldn't that be cool if you could actually see like what's growing and stuff on this mini map instead of having to go into the menu every time? I hope that's something they figure out at some point, because that could be really helpful to all of us. There we go. So we've gotten. No, it doesn't. I turned the menu off now, so I can't see how many samples we've taken. Whoops. Cool beans. Right about there. Let's take this soil sample right here. That'll be our screenshot right there. Hang on one second, folks. All right, so I've continued to take soil samples off the field. We are, as you can see here by the map, we are getting close to being done with both fields. I think I am going to grab samples from my grass field and see how we're doing there. Once again, the grass is kind of just left to grow, so I'm not too worried about it. But as long as we've rented the machine, we might as well get at least one sample and see how it looks. You know, this is pretty easy, though. Now, it hasn't sent samples off. It's taken, let's see, we've taken 20 samples. And I'm not getting any, warning messages saying that it's full or that it needs to be sent off. But I'm interested to see how long it takes to get back, if it's immediate. But I like this because right here now we have a purpose for our little electric tractor. This is something that the electric tractor is very well suited to do. There's our last sample from here. So let's go ahead and send that in. That's going to be, let's see. What button is it? A, Y? Soon. They don't tell us when. They just say soon. Okay. So we'll see our soil sample results. That's cool. So hopefully from now on, the mini map will hold those. I don't know if maybe they just go to the main map or if they disappear. But we'll see. But I am going to run this tractor up to our farm, and we'll get some soil samples of that grass field that we own and see how that's doing. So I love this little tractor. Once again, it does have several uses for it. Mostly we're using it to putter things around the farm. Free and easy because it's no gas. Well, not free necessarily, but. Now, my wife uses it for everything. She uses this tractor to plow, to cultivate, to mow, to the Rigitrack. Oh, yeah. She loves this little tractor. She beats the crap out of it. Like, I don't know if I would use this to plow, but you can do it. But Watching it pull that, she gets out that big Pottinger, baler, and she's out there with that Pottinger baler pulling it. I'm like, oh my God, something's going to break. It's going like 3 miles an hour up the hill, 2 miles an hour. It is a good little tractor, though. All right, so we've arrived. Let's go ahead and... No, I don't know. We'll take one sample and see. It may not work, actually, now that I think about it. Will this actually sample? Because it's grass. I don't know. Ooh, $2,200 for soil samples. Ouch. Well, it is what it is. So will we get a read back from this being grass? I don't know. It may not. No, it does. Look at that. Okay. So we'll send these off. So the less samples you take, that's 20. So it's $100 a sample. The better off you are. So I wonder though, so that brings up some questions. Like, once again, how often do you have to do this? Do you have to do this every time? And I'll read it. Oh, this is showing us stuff. Look, our pH value is bad. Nitrogen is bad. Oh. Shouldn't do that yet because we haven't set the samples off yet. Interesting. So I'll have to read about it and see. I think you probably are supposed to test between every crop, I would think, but that's going to get really expensive. Like, we're talking thousands of dollars, obviously, to test. So the question then is, do you get enough yield to cover the expense of the testing? Okay, and I can't test that because that's somebody else's property. So I think that's good. I'm not going to finish this field because, like I said, now it's already telling me that this has got... Let's see what we have. Nitrogen. Okay, so if you haven't tested the area, you don't know. I guess we need to keep going, huh? Interesting that it doesn't. And I wonder after... Okay, so probably what happens is after a while, that'll go back to regular color and you won't know anymore like what you have. You okay there, babe? Stretching. Is your name Stretchin' Gretchen? No, that's not your name. Egg sandwich, bacon, and sausage. Oh, I forgot. All right, let me finish this and I'll get it. It's already boiled. I just haven't. I forgot. I got so excited about this DLC that I forgot to make you tea. I will go do that right here. Let me just get this last sample and I'll go make it. All right, so here's the last sample. Good enough. That's good enough. And so, yep. Nitrogen's bad all the way around. Okay, so let's go ahead and send those samples off. Oh, and look, it disappeared. So the data should come back, and I want to run down real quick to the other field and see what that is. So I'll catch up with you guys in a second here, and I will be right back. So it doesn't look, to my disappointment, that you get the information right on the screen. It's not, it's gone. So we don't get that cool, but we'll have some information in our map, which is fine. Because honestly, you really only need it when you're running the machine to see where you've actually pulled samples from. So let's go ahead and pull in here, and we'll take a look at the overall map to see what it looks like. So hold on just a second, folks. All right, so this is actually the opposite of what I thought it would be. The left side of our field, closer to the river, is loam. The middle of our fields is sandy loam. And then this part is loamy sand. And I thought it would be the opposite. I thought the sand would be closer to the shoreline and the more regular soil would be more towards the mountains. But it was opposite. Here we have a little bit of loamy soil, a lot of sandy loam, and loamy sand right there. So let's take a look here. pH levels. So see, it will go outdated eventually. So at that point, then you'll need to re-rent this or buy one and run it. pH levels are a little low, but they're yellowish green. So if we run our limer, now here's the thing. Using this information, the limer will now take its GPS information and it will reduce the amount that it puts out to bring this to, I believe you want it to be like 6.5 is where you're happy. So a good pH. And this is just like this is funny because this is just like testing your pool. When you have a pool, you have these strips that tell you if you have too much pH or if there's not enough pH. I think the lower the number, the more acidic it gets. The higher the number, the less acidic. But you want it to be a little bit acidic. Once again, these fields are pretty low. Cool. That's neat. Nitrogen now. Whoa. Now, we just had a crop on this field, so our nitrogen levels are going to be low. Once we fix that by putting our fertilizers down, we should be golden. But this will require, I think they said liquid or solid fertilizer. They want you to really be using manure, and but I don't have enough. I don't have enough manure yet, so I can use a little bit of manure, but that's not. I don't think we're going to cover our 2 fields with manure and slurry. This field, we'll have to do it with a sprayer because it's already growing. Yield 55%. That's really bad right there. These are no yield. What? Don't know what that means. And here, this doesn't even show any yield. So maybe for grass it doesn't matter. I don't know. But we are definitely going to put some fertilizer down here, and we'll also put lime down on everything just to see how we do for fun. So those are the new informations under our precision farming. So let's go ahead and take that information and whoops, put it to the test. We're going to drop this off at home. I'm going to see if we have any manure and or slurry available. But the first thing we're going to do is get out a lime machine and put lime down. Now, have I done lime on this? I don't think I've done lime on this map yet, so. All right, I'm going to run this back. I'm going to return the Asaria to the shop. And we've got our data. We'll see how long the data lasts, but this is cool. I'm actually really liking this. It adds a different level to Farm Simulator without getting too complicated. Like it's fairly easy to understand, and I like that. They made it simple, but yet it makes the game a little bit more realistic. And this is what farmers do. It's what they're doing with drones. It's what they're doing with thermal imaging. They're using technology to check their crops and increase their output. So I'm really on board with this. I think it's a neat mod that adds realism to the game without being crazy or being too much. So I'll be back in a second. All right, folks. So we have rented this spreader. use it on our farm lugubriously. Hire worker, detach. Deactivate automatic. Okay, so we want it activate automatic application rate. That's what we want. So it's already set to. Hang on, I need to turn this off of all those steering. There we go. It's already set to automatically adjust the rate of spreadage according to what is needed on the field. And so that is good. And it's loaded in. Basically, if we can pretend if we're going to quote unquote simulate, and this is how it really would work. That data is loaded into the computer over there to the right of the tractor. And the tractor computer then sends the information via cables to our spreader to tell it where to put it on thicker and where to put it on less thick. Therefore, saving us money on product. However, considering that we spent $5,000 on the rental and usage for the samples, another $2,000 on the rental for the lime, I don't know that we're going to get an additional $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 of yield out of the crops. So that might be good for like a huge farm. Oh, come on. But I don't necessarily know that it's worth it on these smaller farms. That's a lot of money. You know, if you let's see, yeah, because I mean we spent 22 plus about $3,500 in samples to get that information, and I don't know. I don't know how many. If you have to sample every crop, you're going to be severely cutting into your profits. Unless you have huge fields, or this really makes such a huge difference in how much crop we get. I mean, literally, it'll have to make like 25% more crop when it comes to our main field. Not this field necessarily, but our main fields down at the bottom. We made $25,000 off of product. We need to be making now 30 off of product in order for this to be worthwhile. But then again, if it regulates the amount of spray that we're using for our lime and our fertilizer, that could also, make a determination on how much we're making. So we could theoretically make more money because we're spending less on fertilizer and lime. Though lime is not very expensive, but fertilizer is expensive. So if we can use less of it, that would definitely help us. You can see there, it's controlling how much lime is actually going out the butt. It's really cutting back the amount because the issue is that we're going 1 mile an hour up this hill. This is a really steep hill. There we go. Now it's applying more because it needs more here. But you'll notice the lime is not going out nearly as fast as it used to. So it only goes out what it needs. Once again, a much more realistic way to farm. I like that. It puts actual technology into the game, which I like. Now, I wish that we could get on our readouts on the computer screens in the tractor. You could actually see the effect of what you were doing inside the tractor via screen. Because in real life, that's what you would see. You'd have, a screen showing you where you've applied and where you haven't applied and how it's been properly set. But unfortunately, in the game, the computers are still not operable. Now, I'm wondering if cattle and crops, I was looking at, cattle and crops as, speaking of which, I was playing around with it a little bit. My wife and I were looking at it because they have released version 1. Now, the game is still in development, so I hate the fact that they've gone, quote unquote, out of early access. I really think it's bogus when companies do that. When the game's not ready, but they're like, well, we're ready to release it. Well, no, you're not, because it's still early access. There you go. There's some serious control going on here. So anyway, They've released now. They got bought out by Professional Farmer. If you guys go back on my channel, you'll see there's a couple alternate farm simulators that I play or have tried. Pure Farming, which was okay. Real Farmer, which was absolutely garbage. And I felt bad because I got a free copy from the developer, and I wanted to say all these nice things about it. It was terrible. The game itself was awful. Then we had Farm Expert 16 and 17, which I'm very on board with. That is a great simulator. It's real clunky, but that they used that engine and they went on to make Farmers Dynasty, which is also a great game. Those of you guys who watch on my channel, I do play Farmers Dynasty quite frequently. Oh, by the way, the grass is ready to mow, so tomorrow we've got another job coming up. Look, it turns off. Wow. Hey, that is something. It shut off because we didn't need any lime there. That's, once again, saving us product. And so that's where the precision comes in. We're not putting more down than we need. So that's good news. And we still are probably going to go through this whole tank on this field, but already we've used less than we normally would. And it'll shut off again here when we come around this corner. So, yeah, I am... Professional Farmer, they had the only one I ever played of that. There was one called American Dream. And I played it like one or two videos. It was basically like a really crappy version of Farm Expert. Same models, but much lower res. It was bad. It was a really bad game. And that company had several different Professional Farmer games. They've been on iPad. They've been on PC. None of them are good. None of them are terrible either, but none of them are great. They've bought out Cattle and Crops. So now it's Professional Farmer Cattle and Crops. I don't know if that's going to bode well for the game or not. But anyway, I messed around with it a little bit last week, and it's come along. It's come a pretty long way. It still is kind of like the redheaded stepchild version of Farm Sim 19. It's got, the graphics aren't as good. It's a little more clunky, but it does have some terrain deformation. One thing that Moni mentioned when it rained, she's like, "Oh look, there's like water on the fields." Where when it rains, the water actually gets retained on the fields, and the fields get muddy, and so that's something that Farm Sim definitely doesn't have. So there's some neat stuff to it. The control scheme is a little bit really wonky actually, but I like the fact that it's totally customizable. Every tractor you can set it differently, and we need to get a little spot over here. Anyway, I find it interesting. I think it's not a terrible game. I don't know if I'm ready to do a series on it yet. Like I said, but some of the things are cool. So like a lot of the in-cab stuff actually functions, though some of it doesn't. It depends on the tractor. Like it's some of it still just says Cattle and Crops coming soon. But their idea was to get the inner computers working, and I don't know that they've successfully done that. But I was hoping that would be one of the things that they were finally going to do. The only one that actually has a functional computer, and it's not great, but it's at least a working camera screen, is Farmers Dynasty. Farmers Dynasty and Farm Expert, really. I haven't seen Farmers Dynasty's modern tractors yet, but in Farm Expert, you actually have a working digital display that shows you behind the tractor. It's a monitor, and it displays what's going on behind the tractor, and it actually displays it in real time. And that's another thing that Farmers Dynasty or Farm Expert, I'm just going to keep saying Farmers Dynasty because that's the latest version, but Farm Expert, not Farmers Dynasty doesn't have this, but Farm Expert does. It has a real-to-life map that shows you as you're driving on the map what the status of the field is. And that's the only simulator, thus far to do that. You okay? Yeah. So we have successfully done that whole field slowly and not run out of lime, that's a big difference right there, folks. I know it doesn't sound like much, but right there we've saved a couple $100. Now, when that comes to fertilizer, it could be thousands of dollars, though unfortunately we've got no fertilizer on our fields right now, so we're going to have to really work on that. They're all showing really low. Now, I'm not going to bother putting manure and stuff on the grass field. The grass is grass. I might spray it after the next mowing, but right now it's grown full length, so spraying it is not going to matter. We've already got a full yield on that field. We're not going to be able to change it this time around, but hopefully making the pH right will make things right. Was that our door? So let's fill this back up again. I don't like on this one, you have to get really close. And we're going to run down to the main farm and do those fields. Oh, and we can take a look at once again, at our data while we're doing this. And you can see now, if we go here to the pH level, the pH is much better. We're ranging between, looks like 6 to 6.75, with a lot of it being 6.5, which is what you want. That's where you want it to be. That's acceptable amounts. Once again, nitrogen's really low. Your mouth is making weird noises? Or your mouse? That's called talking, honey. That's called flopping your lip with your finger. Are you okay? My life is going bonkers, guys. Would you like me to pat your head? It'll all be okay, darling. No. Do you need a kiss? Is that what you're telling me? I'll be right back. We've arrived at the Southern Farm. We're gonna spray that lime all over the field. You can see here how slow the release is of the lime. I love that. That's so cool. Like, before this would be like half of a tank right here just doing this. But we have definitely improved our yield. Our spread amount. I don't know what you call it. We've improved something somewhere. So I'm interested to see if it's the same. Alfie's rubbing his butt on the carpet. Babs. Well, can you let him out? I'm recording. I'm recording. All right, I'll let him out. Dang it. He's got to poo. That's how he tells us he's got to poo. He wipes his butt on the carpet. I'll be back. Alfie is outside happily. He'll want to come back in like 2 seconds. There we go. All right. So you guys get the idea. I'm going to get this field limited. And I'll be back. Well, now obviously this spot needs a little more because it's going faster. You don't get the idea, honey? So, I think this is a cool. Now this is getting cooler as the time goes on. Once again, it seems awful expensive to start with, but we'll see if it's worth it in the long run. I know, I did. I thought, oh, I just went through the fence. I thought it looked dumb. I'm like, this isn't going to be any fun. But actually, I'm really enjoying it. I'm eating my words. Sadly, you guys won't see this video for like another week because by the time I release it on my channel, it's going to be several days. This is because I have 2 other episodes in front of it that have to be released. So, I know. I should have done a showcase. Well, whatever. I mean, it's free. Everyone's already playing with it. It's not. I don't get all excited about free DLC. Maybe I should. But anyway, what'd you say? You making fun of me? No. Maybe I'll do like a little showcase thing separately. So anyway, because I have other farms we can test it on. Anyway, all right, folks. So I'm going to go ahead and get this done. I'll be back once we are finished putting this lime out. And so I'll see you guys momentarily. All right, folks. So we're about to finish up this portion of it. And this has been really good. Like, It has definitely reduced the amount of lime that I'm using. Now we still may run out before we're done, but I've gotten really close to being able to do the entire field with one trailer full of lime. Where before this would have taken like three. It took like 3 or 4 trailers full last time I did it. So it has really reduced the amount of lime that we've. Now, obviously, if the field has greater need for lime, then obviously you're going to go through it faster. But if you keep your fields limed every couple, I don't know. We'll have to look and see. I don't. Once again, I'm not sure how often you're supposed to do this, but I think it'll kind of walk us through it. The outdated data or outmoded data or whatever is how we'll know that we've used up, and we need to sample again. So probably once that data goes to like no longer valid, at that point you need to resample. So
Will you stop staring at what I'm doing?
I'm not. I don't even know what you're doing. What are you talking about? My wife thinks I'm spying on her. So we have a little bit of lime left. Really? Not too bad. So we're going to go ahead and dump that over here, and we'll return this spreader to our local dealer. There's that. Well, threw it way out there in the field. And I'm going to go ahead and return this. So I'll be right back, folks. I'm going to return this. And so you can see, where before we were in the danger zone with our pH, which this one still, I don't know, that one portion still looks a little, no, it's 6. We got a 6, 6.5, 6.75. This is going to definitely be 6.5. And that's 6.75. That spot right there, though, is 6. Yeah, it's definitely a 6. So 6 is as high as we could get that. And that's just how it is. I think there's, they try to get it within a certain range. So I'm going to head back home. I'll be back. All right, so the last things that we're going to look at for today, I'm realizing I never bought a manure wagon. We don't have much manure anyway. How much slurry do we have? Let's see. Slurry, 20,000 liters. That could be enough to get us through doing both of our fields. So we'll let the manure continue to grow. What we do need to do, though, is to rent or buy the slurry attachment for our Lindner tractor, or truck, I mean. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back. And, oh, shoot, this goes down at the other farm. Dang it. So I'm just going to put this follow. I'm going to put follow me on, and this guy's going to follow the other truck back to the other farm. I don't know why I brought this up here. Oops. All right, so let's go ahead and actually, for now, we'll just shut this off because it's going to sit. But that's got to go back to the main farm. So we'll take this down to the shop. And actually, before I do that, I'm going to drop this guy right here. Now, it's taken us several weeks to put this slurry together. Your phone? One thing that we could do to make slurry is to make silage in our pit, which would be fine because we can use that for, instead of doing the wrapper, we could do both. Sell the wrap bales. Actually, we could probably sell the wrap bales first and then take the money from the sales and enjoy it. And then use the silage for the cows. All right, so we are going to go here and take a no. We basically, it's a 2-part thing that we want. We got slurry tanks, and this is what fits on the back of the Lindner. One of these. Let's see, that's the Zunhammer. Man, it's expensive, but not crazy expensive. Lindner Unitrack. That's Agrar. 10 meters. 80F 3200. See, I could have sworn that this came with an attachment. But maybe it doesn't. Does it this? Vibro grubber? No. That's for the big machine. Man. Zun disc.
I have absolutely no money left now.
From what? Hang on a second, folks. All right, so I figured it out. The ADF, you have to go into the menu and then you can pick the different attachments for it. Now, the downside is this is really expensive now with that attacher, but I think I don't want to. I'm a little afraid of doing this because we have milk coming in, but this is going to really like take us down to almost no money. But we could lease it for $1,700. Is that worth it? The slurry is free, but the cost. I think we're going to lease it for now, just to be safe. Eventually, we'll buy it. So that is our spreader right there, and we're going to use this to spread the slurry onto the field.
Alfie, what are you even trying for? Stop!
Is that why he was crying? All right, so let's go ahead and get this enabled. We're going to fill this guy up and get down to those fields and check and see if like how it affects this. I'm going to see real quick though in the menus it should tell us. Yep, so we have an automatic rate spreader on this too, so it will reduce the amount of slurry that we use to what we need, which is what I want. That's what you want. You want to be able to, not use things unless you have to use them. So I think we might sell those silage bales then, since we have enough food for a couple days, and we'll move that into using the silage bin and creating silage, because that'll make more slurry for us, or digestate also. So that'll help us produce free fertilizer and save us money in the long run. Or we'll take maybe half the bales for now. Like we'll feed our cows tomorrow morning and then take what's left. Leave like 4 or 5 bales and take the rest down to sell. And then at that point we'll make silage. I'm trying to think of how we're going to do that. We can rent another back for this. This thing has lots of backs to rent. So this will get the nitrogen level up a bit, but what we're going to find is that you're going to have to add a second layer of fertilizer again. Once the crops start growing to their first phase, you're going to get that nitrogen level up again. And then I think probably by the next crop, then that's when it ends. So you get 1 crop out of it. And that's it. Look out, I'm busy. All right, so let's put down our slurry on this field before we start. And I should have. There we go. Hey, watch it. And this starts dumping out when we start rolling. Actually, it starts dumping out anyway. So I don't know if this will affect how much we spread. Wow, it's really going fast. But then again, this field was in bad shape, so I don't know. I hopefully will have enough slurry to do this whole field or both fields, but I don't know. I'm thinking we may not, which means we're going to have to go to solid fertilizer to put down. Um, before we cultivate, because we want all the fields to be at the same level. So yeah, we pounded right through that. Wow. Well, now we know. And we're out. Fold it up, and we're going to have to think about how to do this. I suppose we could grab a tractor. Wait, no, that's not going to work. What do we have as far as slurry tanks go? Transporting tanks. There's this. We have to fill it on the field. Once it's full, you can't really move it. You have to have the whole system, so that's not going to work. So we're just going to have to drive back and forth. But let's take a look real quick at the map and see what kind of difference we made on the field. Where's our track? Our track. There it is. Let's look at the field. So if you look here and we look at the nitrogen levels, that strip, yeah, see, it's getting better. It's about 100, about 100. Oops. Oh, that's easy. So where we've been, we've raised it up to 100, which 200 is where we're going to be once we do the second spraying, around the 200 mark. So that's where we need to be. So I'm going to go ahead and dump all that stuff down here, and then to get the rest in, I think I'm going to have to put down regular fertilizer. So, but we're using a full load right now because this is depleted, and that's going to happen pretty much every time. You know, I think the end result is you're still going to need 2 applications of fertilizer. So that hasn't changed from the actual farm sim game. In the original game, you needed 2 layers. With this system, you're still going to need to put down 2 different layers of fertilizer. So, and that's just how it is. So anyway. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so hopefully you enjoyed this video as we played around with the advanced farming, the precision farming DLC on our lovely farm. And we're going to definitely look at ways of making more silage to make more slurry. Though I don't know. I think I might have to do that. I might not be able to do that, actually, because I'm thinking, now I think about it, I'm pretty sure you have to do that at the plant. You don't get that gestate from the local cow farm. You have to get it from the biogas plant, which you will not get unless you own it. So that kind of goes out the door. So we'll just use the slurry that we get from the cows and then put down solid fertilizer for the rest. And I'm glad I rented this instead of buying it, because we're going to have to let that tank sit for a long time so it recovers. Maybe in a month or 2, we'll have enough to do 1 solid field. So every couple months we'll get to use free fertilizer. But then other than that, we're going to have to pay for it. Grr. All right, guys. See you in the next video. Have a great night. Bye.